936.
This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. This is Kaplan and Crew, along with Grande and the Brown Man, coming to you from the 7 Mile Casino Studio, 7milecasino.com. If you are a great friend and you like playing blackjack, poker, and table games, if you're a great friend and you like Sammy's Restaurant and Bar, which is Sammy's Woodfire Pizza everywhere else in San Diego, if you're a great friend and you like convenience, 7 Mile Casino is your spot. That is your place. You are a winner at 7 Mile Casino. And if you have any problems with gambling, you call 1-800-GAMBLER, but you're not, because you're going to go down there. You're going to have fun. You're going to win. You're going to go over to Sammy's. You're going to have those duck tacos. You're going to have those slider burgers. You're going to have those great salads. You're going to have a nice stiff drink. You're going to have fun. You're going to win at 7 Mile Casino, 7milecasino.com. All right, fellas, we got a ton of stuff on the hit list today. Wondering where you might want to start. Chargers, Chiefs, getting ready for Sunday Night Football. Lots of NFL news. We're just days away from the start of the World Cup. And if I'm being honest, I don't know a whole lot about the World Cup and, who's supposed to be good. I'm just a pure USA fan. That's all. So I'd love to hear, maybe Alex could kind of make us sound like we're smart, make everybody sound like they're smart. So when you go to a party and somebody's like, hey, you watching the World Cup? Yeah, Brazil. Why? They look really sharp. They're really good. I mean,
you're good right there.
Maybe we could get a little advice on the World Cup. There's a lot of other things that I'd like to get to today. The Raiders and now the quarterback and the star receiver, they support the coach because I'm sure those guys want to play together for a lot longer than one season. So try and keep it all together. San Diego State football, there's some stuff there. Steve Lavin yesterday, there was a lot of comments about the Steve Lavin stuff, so I want to get to that. So, all right, fellas, I'm throwing it out there. What's most interesting to you today?
By the time this people watch this, I wonder if we will be throwing a little parade for our third baseman, or if we're just going to be like the disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to get too deep into that. Maybe tomorrow's better for that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, got a lot of reaction yesterday from my comparison of the three owners, the three children that own teams, and how we didn't really pound. I mean, I think I put pieces together, and then we all started placing pieces together about how terrible these Spanos, Bus, Davis kids have been at running their teams.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of reaction from that. I don't know if you guys want to talk about more of that.
Was it positive reaction or was it
negative?
It
was it was an agreement. It was almost like a light bulb went off, and people were like, "That's true." Like Jeannie Buss, Dean Spanos, Mark Davis were all handed teams by their parents, by their fathers, and they have had. Well, Jeannie had 1 year of success, but other than that, they have been pretty terrible.
Somebody else you could throw into there is Robert Irsay.
There you go.
I mean, he's another guy who his father handed him
Jim
the
Irsay.
team. Excuse me, Jim Irsay. The father must have been Robert Irsay.
If we're gonna really do this, we got to start with the original person who sucks at owning the team, Virginia McCaskey.
Okay, so you're going deep into the Bears, huh?
Yeah. She's been owning the team for longer than I've been alive.
I wonder if
the entire time.
I wonder if Stephen Jones will join the list.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Somebody said, but I saw somebody on Twitter say yesterday, no, these examples are good, but then you look at Jed York, who's the owner of the 49ers, and they're like, well, his father owned the team and he's taken over the team. And I don't really remember the York.
But they haven't won anything.
What they won.
Right. What have the 49ers? The whole point is, of all these people, Jeannie Buss has done the best because she actually got the title. Truncated, but nevertheless got the title. The rest of these people, Virginia McCaskey's 97. She's been in the Super Bowl twice. Come on, man.
Yeah, but at least she's been to the Super Bowl. I mean, under Dean Spanos' leadership and under Mark Davis's leadership.
Also true.
I mean, the Chargers and the Raiders have been disasters. And the Chargers, they kind of get the Chargers don't have the stench of the 2-14 type seasons anymore, because it's been a long time. The Chargers have been at least a 500 caliber team since probably 2004. Like, it's
But I
been
feel
that
like the
long.
Chargers get a pass because they've been in low, quiet San Diego. I think they get a pass for how bad they have been. And what I mean bad is they have 2 playoff wins in 15 years.
Mm.
Like, that is a level of ineptitude, whereas Eric Williams alluded to, with the class of quarterback they've had for 25 years or whatever it's been.
Well, no, it's been since 2000,
When was Drew
call it
Brees?
2 or 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for the past 20 years, they've had a solid to exceptional quarterback pretty much every year. I don't think Rivers ever missed a year or anything like that.
Nope.
So they've had a quarterback every single year, a good one, and they have 2 wins in 15 years to show for it.
Yeah, and Eric said yesterday, he goes, what other team in the NFL has had that long of a period of time of really good sustained quarterback play? Like,
Yeah.
what other team has had that? And I jumped in and said the Packers, because they went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and that's been,
Yeah.
I mean, Brett Favre is
That's been 30
probably,
years.
yeah, I mean, Brett Favre's early 90s.
And I think the year that, like, Rodgers, I think it was Rodgers, he got a year-ending injury.
Mhm.
Matt Flynn got himself a fat deal because he was so good there.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Broke his
So-
collarbone.
And actually, now that I'm looking at it now.
Mhm.
5 playoff wins. 5 playoff wins since the Super Bowl year. Since 1994. They
Yeah.
have 5 playoff wins. So Drew Brees, Philip Rivers, Justin Herbert, 5 playoff wins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I wonder, 5 playoff wins. I wonder how many playoff appearances. So if we're talking about 28 years, there's been, in 28 years, the Chargers have been to the playoffs 7 times.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would wonder, in the same 28-year period, how many times the Raiders have been to the playoffs. It's probably been less than 7. But the whole point you made yesterday was a really good one, that Mark Davis, he has changed coaches over and over again. Ever since Al Davis died and Mark Davis took over, it's been a constant rotation of head coaches, offensive coordinators, and general managers. And then, of course, the move in the middle of all of that. And Mark Davis was kind of a joke and a goof in Oakland. He was kind of respected and became a smart guy in Vegas, because how the hell did he get there and get that stadium built with like virtually no money? And now I think people are starting to understand that
He's still Mark Davis.
right, same guy, may have moved towns, same guy. Dean Spanos moved north 100 miles, same guy. Jeannie Buss didn't even have to move. And Jeannie Buss and her family, all the dysfunction that has been reported, and even in some ways kind of glorified through the series on Hulu, Legacy. Those 3 are really fine examples, and all connected through Southern California, by the way. Don't forget about the Raiders in LA.
And 2, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of, and this is the age we live in, but somebody got to say it.
Okay.
There are a lot of gloves off when it comes to Jeannie Buss, because she's a woman.
A lot of gloves off, or what do you mean?
Like, people don't overtly criticize the job that she's done because she's a woman.
So aren't the gloves therefore on?
Well, I guess so. Yeah. I guess I got to.
I mean, if you treat somebody with kid gloves, and I don't ever use that phrase, ever. If you treat somebody with kid gloves, doesn't that mean that you're treating them like in a gentle sort of a way?
Yeah. So
But if you say the gloves are off, now it's bare knucks, homeboy.
Okay. Yeah. Then that was backwards. Yeah.
So I think Jeannie's getting a lot of criticism, and I believe it's incredibly fair criticism. But because she's a woman, people might think that we're over criticizing her.
Oh, I actually think the opposite. I think that Jeannie Buss gets a fair amount of criticism, perhaps even less criticism than she deserves. And the reason she gets less is because she's a woman.
Well, if you ask her, she gets overly criticized. She was on Rich Eisen a month ago, almost in tears.
Oh, dude.
Saying, would you ask Mark Cuban about his inner circle?
Well, right. So Rich Eisen, obviously everybody hears Rich on 1090. Rich Eisen said to Jeannie, he goes, hey, listen, people talk about this all the time. Like, your inner circle. He goes, well, why are people so consumed with your inner circle? And you're right. She kind of got teary eyed. It was like, would you ask Mark Cuban about his inner circle? And she pretty much overtly said, you're asking me about my advisory board, if you will, my group of people that I trust that are around me. You're asking me about that simply because I'm a woman, which means you don't think I'm qualified to do the job. See, I hear people say this all the time, though. They go, Jeannie Buss is not a basketball person. She's not a basketball person. You should let the basketball people handle that. I'm like, this woman has been around professional basketball for 45 years.
Yeah.
What do you mean she's not a basketball person? What does that mean?
She's been in the business of basketball just as much as any man has. And so my thing is, if she took offense to that question, I guarantee you, Mark Cuban has a bunch of people who he sits around and he listens to when it comes to basketball.
Now, you think
he
Mark
makes
Davis
the final
is sitting
decision.
around? Yeah, you think Mark Davis, and I'm making a joke, but you honestly think Mark Davis sitting around a bowl of Kung Pao chicken at PF Chang's being like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it by himself?
Right. No, everybody, every person at that level has
people around you. When you're that rich and you own an asset that's this important, you have to have people around you saying yes. Right. And so the same goes for Dean Spanos. Listen, why is Tom Telesco, just to use an example, why is Tom Telesco still the general manager of the Chargers? They really haven't been successful under Tom Telesco. Like you can look at him and go, he's had good drafts. He's produced good players. Joey Bosa is a really good player. Justin Herbert's a really good player. Mike Williams is a nice player. But this guy's always hurt and that guy's always hurt. And hey, he signed this guy in free agency. That guy's always hurt. The point I'm trying to make is that Tom Telesco is a yes man.
Yeah. He's been in charge for 10 years. He has a losing record.
No other general manager will be able to do that.
Jeannie Buss has been fully in charge. She kicked Jim out. She's done 9 complete seasons. They made the playoffs twice. One of them they won the championship. And honestly, if you look back, I'd have to really do a little bit of research what I'm about to say. But if you look at those 7 years, they are probably top 15. I know last year was the 3rd worst ever Lakers record ever. They're making consistently worst Laker ever seasons under Jeannie Buss.
I know. And it's hard to, if we just stop for a second and think, hold on. We're comparing the Lakers' ineptitude to the Chargers' ineptitude. And those two things would have been opposites 5-6 years ago. The Lakers and the Chargers would have nothing to even do with each other in the same breath. The Chargers being in LA, I think your point, Alex, earlier about how they could kind of get a pass in San Diego because they weren't so visible. Now they're on this, bigger stage, and people are going to notice because there's so much hype at one point, and then there's so much failure later in the year.
Right.
And
I will also add, now that you're in LA, you're inviting media members to your building. You're inviting these people to come take a look at you. So now they are aware of you. So now with whoever it is, whether it be a Stephen A, whether it be a Cowherd, whoever, every NFL Network person that picked, I think 5 NFL Network analysts picked them to win the Super Bowl this year. All these people that you are putting your product in front of their face now. They are now aware of you. And I think the shine is definitely wearing off.
And you've kissed up to the media nationally and locally enough by inviting them to your place, to your point. And you've kissed up to these people so much to say, hey, pay attention to us. And they are. And then these media people, they feel like, wow, if I need tickets, I can call. If they gave me gear, wow, they let me in the war room during the draft. Wow, I'm friends with these guys now. And so then what you do is you go hype them on the air. And then they let you down because they don't know what we all know.
Right. And it's actually pretty funny too with the Spanos and the Genie thing. Currently, you have these crown jewels, and I'll say for a lack of you have a Rivers, you have a Herbert, the Lakers have a LeBron, they have AD, and they still suck. People might think we're not being totally fair because whatever, the Chargers have a winning record and whatever. But literally, you have this crown jewel of an athlete, and you're not doing anything with it.
Well, it is really amazing to me that we sit here and we have this conversation, and we compare Jeannie Buss to Dean Spanos. And the one thing about Jeannie, 2 years ago when the Lakers won, what I remember was I remember it like she's the first female owner to lead a team to a championship. And 2 years ago, she was being celebrated for being a woman and in her position and leading a team to a championship. Whereas now things have gotten so bad around the Lakers. By the way, this has been the best week. Like, Lakers haven't played all week. They played Sunday, they play Friday. I haven't had to watch Laker basketball all week long.
Dude,
Great.
The door swings both ways.
How so? What do you mean?
I hope that people, when they're evaluating her, they don't let that like get away from them. Because as much as you can give a person credit for doing something because they're a woman, you should also be able to criticize them equally. Period. In the position that they're in.
I myself criticize her without even calling her a woman. I criticize her as an owner, and I think that she had an opportunity to really kind of put her foot down as I am a real legit owner in 2020 when they won that championship. But the more she speaks publicly and the more, like, remember I brought up that show that she did with talking to a medium, talking to her dead father at the Coliseum? Like, the more she shows her insecurities about being an owner, now you start getting a little bit more personal with her. And I think that's where it's different with her. We don't know anything personal about Dean Spanos and how he feels about his relationship with his father. Like, that stuff's not out there. But Jeannie makes it so public that all she wants to do is appease her father, even though that he's already like passed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's where with Jeannie it's a little different because it is personal because she makes it so personal. Whereas,
public, I would say public more than personal.
Right, their family has glorified the dysfunction. Like, if you've watched this series on Hulu, and I got to episode 8, and I still got to get to 9 and 10, and every time I go to sit down to watch it, I never do it.
They're not as
bad sign.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of patting on the back.
No, I liked it. No, but Browner, I liked the series, and I learned a lot about the family and about the history of the organization, and I learned a lot.
Listen, you know what we say: when you get to the end, you can't finish it. It ain't good.
No, but it's me. It's my ADHD, and it's my other stuff going on, and it's just not that important. Like when I was watching Dahmer, I was so on the edge of my seat. What?
The thing is, sorry.
Well, I like Dahmer. I mean, I don't like him, and I don't like the story, but I thought that the series was incredible.
Speak about glorifying things.
Well, they did. They glorified, what he was.
Cannibalism and murder.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, it's not the first person who's known as a mass murderer in America who there was a glorified film or series about. Come on.
It's all bad.
Okay, well, I'm just saying to you that with that series, I had to finish it as fast as possible. With Legacy, I was in, and then I got distracted, and I haven't gone back and watched the last two.
What about House of Dragon?
A lot of the final two.
House of Dragon, I had to watch all of them.
A lot of the final two is about the family, a lot about where they are now and what they're doing now and how they don't talk now. And they all start crying because they all start complimenting each other on camera. Spoiler alert. So, because they don't even talk anymore. It's so they make their family issues public.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this whole conversation about how Dean Spanos, Mark Davis, and Jeannie Buss are all owners of, at least in the case of the Lakers and the Raiders, these are legendary sporting brands. The Chargers are not that, but they're all the common denominator is that all three of these current owners had these teams hand delivered on a silver platter by their fathers. This is their primary business now, and it's what feeds their whole family. And they're all terrible at what they do. All of them are terrible at what they do. And we'll talk more about the Chargers and the Chiefs, which is the big Sunday night game coming up, because Kevin Kietzman from Kansas City is going to be here. As a matter of fact, I was at a dinner last night with a guy, and this guy is no, not Kevin, but a guy from Kansas City.
That'd be impressive.
Yeah, real. Well,
wow.
You want to hear something totally wild? Because Kevin's coming on in a minute. Last night I'm at dinner with a guy, and he's from Kansas City, and he mentioned Kevin by name. I didn't bring Kevin up. And then this morning, Kevin's former business partner, maybe they're still business partners, texted me 6:00 in the morning. He's coming to Del Mar for the races this weekend, wants to know if I'm going to be out there at the races. So 2 Kevin Kietzman mentions in about 12 hours, and now Kevin Kietzman, the voice of sports in Kansas City, is coming on the show to talk about the Chiefs versus the Chargers.
We can ask him about notifications.
Yes, we will. Before Kevin gets here, I want to just remind everybody about Penske San Diego. PenskeSanDiego.com is the website. Shop PenskeSanDiego.com. Acura, Audi, BMW, Honda, Lexus, Mini, Mazda, Mercedes, and Toyota. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. 12 dealerships, 9 different brands, all throughout San Diego. So Penske San Diego is the place to be. Penske San Diego is here to serve you, everybody. All you have to do is shop PenskeSanDiego.com. Penske, PenskeSanDiego.com. Before you go out there and you go, hey, we're going to go look for a new car. We're going to go walk the lots. Don't waste your time, man. Go to PenskeSanDiego.com and look before you go out. And by the way, you can buy online. Makes things
I've been
a lot
on that
easier.
website so much.
Well, you're trying to get rid of this. You're trying to go down from 2 cars to 1 car. Now that you got an e-bike, now you don't need 2 cars.
It's addicting being on that website, dude. Tell you that.
Really?
Much. Oh, yeah. Scrolling through it like a catalog.
Nice. All right. Kevin Kietzman is coming up next. Stick around. We're going to talk about the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Sunday night football game. This is Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studios.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Only on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com.
Absolutely. The best part of the day is working with the team and working directly with customers. Just because it's fun and I enjoy collaborating. I enjoy watching the customers' reactions when the designers come up with their spaces. And we really take pride in the team effort and what we accomplish in the end.
I can tell that the team we have, accountability is very important. They feel like the work that we do is not just a reflection of themselves, but a reflection of us.
We've always been a design build company, but now we've taken design, not only architectural, but interior design to a completely different level.
The philosophy of integrity here at Murray Lampert is always doing the right thing even when someone isn't looking. In turn, the homeowners get a really great product.
We're truly a team at Murray Lampert Design, Build, Remodel, and we don't take that lightly.
Your next outdoor family adventure awaits, creating beautiful memories for your ultimate family experience. Using clean and pure energy. Endless charging for endless possibilities. Fueling all your outdoor needs. Experience your dreams with Jackery. Making these small moments count. Jackery Solar Generator.
Jackery. Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Listen to the Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com. We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Hey, everybody. I'm glad you guys are watching. And right in the middle of the show, I love to talk about one of our great sponsors. In this case, it's Jackery. And you can visit them online at jackery.com. And a couple of Jackery ambassadors, brand ambassadors, are standing by. This is Giselle and Steven, who I've been looking at their website, The Lover's Passport. Hey, guys, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you guys here. How you doing today?
Amazing. Doing great, yeah. Thanks so much for having us.
Tell us what The Lover's Passport is. I've been looking at the website, theloverspassport.com, and I am so jealous of the two of you guys.
Well, it kind of started as just a side hustle for us, a little couples adventure blog, if you will. And it slowly turned into a passion project of ours during COVID lockdown. And we bought our first camera in April of 2020 and just started capturing all of our adventures instead of just writing about them. And fast forward to present day, now we're both full-time travel photographers and adventure enthusiasts.
Did you guys know that you had the eye or the talent to be good photographers? Because I take a lot of pictures and I don't think I'm a photographer. I'm just a guy who has a bunch of pictures on my phone.
We're completely self-taught from YouTube.
Yeah, I feel like we used to model for one of my friends when we did different hikes. So we both loved hiking. And then eventually we were like, why don't we just buy our own camera and we can take some of our own pictures? Because we followed some of these other travel couples that inspired us a ton. So we were like, we could totally do this.
Wow, that's so cool. You guys learned photography on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube University, as we say.
Oh my God, YouTube U. That's awesome. You guys should have shirts that say YTU.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn. I have a degree in film and media, but I never did the production side of it. And the resources that are currently available online to whether you're learning photography or a totally other skill, it's incredible these days.
Where are you guys from? I read that you guys are both California people. Is that right?
Yes, born and raised in Southern California.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Ventura, California. She's a little bit south.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Woodland Hills.
Okay,
Valley girl.
Gotcha. Okay, well, this is perfect because we've got a lot of people watching on Cox Your View throughout San Diego, Orange County, LA, Santa Barbara. So all your people are going to definitely get a chance to see all of this. So you guys become full-time travel adventure bloggers. I've been reading a bunch of your blogs. My son goes to college in West Virginia. I see you guys have a full thing on West Virginia. That was really cool for someone like me to read.
Yeah, we loved West Virginia. It was beautiful out there.
I think one thing that we really try and do is a lot of states travel, especially coming out of the pandemic. And a lot of hidden gems are just right around the corner in the States. And a lot of people think, you have to go to these beautiful international destinations, but there are so many hidden gems to explore in the state. And a lot of them there were tons and tons of these beautiful waterfalls out in West Virginia. We were really impressed.
So you guys become travel, adventure, outdoor bloggers, if you will. And then who puts the website together and who comes up with the name, The Lover's Passport?
That was me. I'm betting you couldn't guess that one. Yeah, no, I used to work in marketing before I did this. I was very used to SEO and the back end of websites and writing articles and things like that. So I came up with The Lover's Passport by taking like synonyms for couples travel and then came up with names that were still available because I was like, oh, what's something that's going to get a lot of traffic? It's not even, there's no like fun story behind it. I just like, what's searchable
and
memorable. We would be doing a lot of international travel, but then the pandemic hit, so we kind of pivoted from lots of international travel and started doing a lot of road trips to really highlight the states.
So jealous, dude. So jealous. So tell me this, you guys are photographers, so you need a lot of power. You've got equipment with you. You're also blogging and you're working on your website. So you have to, be able to be powered. And that's where our common partner, Jackery, comes in. Got about a minute and a half. I'd love for you to tell us about Jackery and what products you use and how you use them.
Yeah, Jackery's like completely changed the way that we could travel because before we were always plugging into the car. I think my car battery died like a dozen or so times. And then finally we started using the Jackery and we can charge our laptops off it. We can charge all of our camera gear. And it's really nice because it also has solar panels. So for our longer road trips, we can be completely self-sustained where we can put out the Jackery, be able to get some power from that and recharge even while we're pulling a lot of energy from our laptops.
And it's just nice if you're a digital nomad or doing
Mhm.
remote work. It gives you the flexibility to travel and still get work done without having to worry about your laptop dying in the middle of the desert, you know? So it's
Exactly.
such a great tool. We've been using the 1000 for over 2 years now, along with the solar panels, and we just recently upgraded. So we're really excited to continue using our Jackery out on our road trips.
Hey guys, Giselle and Steven, it is great to be with you guys. I look forward to a much longer conversation. The website is theloverspassport.com. And the other website that you should know about is jackery.com. And I love what you guys just had to say about powering up and using solar power. It's great advice for people who are going to be tailgating or going to be traveling themselves. Good luck with more of your adventures. You got a new fan who's going to be following you guys on all the social platforms and your website. And thank you so much for talking about Jackery with us.
And thanks so
Thanks
much
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
A real pleasure, guys. Thank you. Back to the show, everybody.
Drivers are getting in accidents at a rate we've never seen before, jumping 18% since 2020. There are higher incidents of speeding and more aggressive driving since the pandemic began. Please slow down and drive safely. It can save a life.
Murray Lampert's design process is very collaborative. We love the process, and what's best about the process is the way that it can flex as needed. So if there's a new piece of technology that's available that's really going to help us out make a more accurate model, we're going to utilize that. We'll send the measure-off team to the house, and they will end up scanning the house using drones, LiDAR scanning, lasers, and tape measures to measure every square inch of the home. Then they'll take that information back to the office and build a 3D model of the home. We'll be upfront and honest if they're asking for things that may be out of their budget. We're going to let them know up front. We're always motivated to strive for excellence. There's kind of not another way to be. We do the best work we can and ultimately make the homeowners happy. What makes me proud is when we present that 3D model to the homeowners and we wow them. Sometimes we even bring tears to their eyes because they love the design so much. That brings me a lot of joy.
Watch the San Diego State Aztecs take on the UC Irvine Anteaters. November 29th at 7 p.m. Only on YourView and YourView.com.
I feel like I have the fun part of the job where I get to help out and make my clients' houses look beautiful. We start with looking at the floor plan, space planning, and then we look at countertops, tile, backsplashes, flooring, cabinets, everything like that. We have a lot of client meetings start in our conference room. Sometimes we have some clients that have already selected certain items that they want to incorporate into their project. We want to make sure they're happy with it because they're going to be living with it for a very long time. Sometimes we'll do something that goes totally with the style, and then we'll have a total outlier option for the client. And a lot of the times they end up going with that because they want to see something totally different. We want to make sure that we're focusing in on our clients. I really want to make sure at the end of the day the clients are happy, that I'm keeping up with my communication with them, and that we know that at the end of the day as well, and moving through the process of construction and everything, that we're going to have a successful project.
At the Barnes firm, we're seeing more pedestrian and bicycle accidents. Drivers are rolling through red lights, and distracted driving makes every intersection a danger zone for pedestrians. Look both ways when crossing, even if you have the right of way.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
All right, great friends. We welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com, along with Grande and the Brown Man. This is Kaplan and Crew. Whether you're listening on radio on 1090, tonight you're going to catch up to us on television. By the way, I'm telling you right now, the interview we did yesterday with Steve Lavin was so amazing, and that made it onto TV last night, didn't it, Alex?
Nope.
Yes, it did. No, it didn't. No, it did not. When will Steve Lavin make it onto TV?
Oh, he will make it on TV very shortly.
Yeah. Wait, for those of you that listened to it yesterday, I know I got a lot of feedback. You'll see it on TV, and this guy will be on TV at some point with us as well. Kevin Kietzman from Kansas City. I always say Kevin Kietzman is the voice of sports in the Midwest in America. Was on a radio station for 20 years that broadcasted to 8 states, and now he dominates the market just with his podcast alone. Here is Kevin Kietzman back on Kaplan and Crew. What's up, Kev?
Man, I'm letting you guys down. I need a Kaplan and Crew sign behind me somewhere. I mean, you guys have enough of those?
Well, let's see here.
You got enough signs that say Kaplan and Crew? Because I'm never sure where I am when I'm watching you guys.
Well, let's see here. If you put
Best
all
thing you
four of
can
us on
do
the
is
screen,
remind people, Kevin.
yeah, put all four of us on the screen. Let's see.
Yeah.
Browner got the monitor right there. Browner's monitor is kind of dark.
What?
You can fix that.
Hey, man,
See, the thing is, like, the thing is nowadays,
TV money.
you know, when you put something on the internet, you never know where it's going to end up,
Mm-hmm.
True.
and you never know if you'll get the right credit. This way, we know if you see it, you're going to see it.
Right.
No matter
and
where
then,
you at.
and then, Kev, then I got this neon light here right over my shoulder.
Yeah,
Which
I see
this
that
one really illuminates and lets people know what's going on, you know?
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's actually bigger than your sponsors. Did you take any business classes at Pitt?
That's right. Took those business classes. So, Kev, give us a little update on where the Chiefs are as the Chiefs are getting ready to come to LA to take on the Chargers. We know what's going on with the Chargers, and we get to see what's going on with the Chiefs, obviously, but a little state of the Chiefs right now going into this game.
Well, they're in really good shape. I mean, they're physically getting healthier. Their points scored are up. Mahomes' touchdowns are up. Their offense is actually better without Tyreek Hill. We have a drinking game here in Kansas City that most of the country doesn't know about, but maybe they'll start talking about it. Last week, the Chiefs played a harmless little noon game against the Jaguars, but they sent Jim Nantz and Tony Romo here.
Yeah.
And by halftime, when Phil Simms said the name Tyreek Hill, that was 5 in the first half and halftime that Tyreek Hill was mentioned on the Chiefs broadcast. Chiefs fans do a shot whenever an announcer says Tyreek Hill. It's a toast. It's a laugh. Tyreek Hill's doing great. The Dolphins are doing great. The Chiefs are doing better without him. And the discussion is just completely over in this town. And we make fun of everybody that brings up Tyreek Hill. So if there's Kansas City people watching this, if you guys bring up Tyreek Hill,
Oh, it's on.
I'll tell you what's in there, but I'm ready for the Tyreek Hill shot. That's what we're doing in Kansas City these days.
Why are they better without him?
Man, he's just got more targets. I think Mahomes, instead of looking for number 10 or number 87, which he's done for 5 years, I think he's just looking for a red jersey. And, you know, he's going through his progressions and he's reading it, and it doesn't matter who he's throwing to at this point. You know, Kelsey's numbers may be down. They're not really so far. He's having a fine year. They may be down a little because he's just spreading it all over the place. I mean, it's been remarkable to see. They added this guy, Kadarius Toney from the Giants. It was like the least well-known trade before the trade deadline. Chiefs gave up like a sack of footballs and a kicking tee for this guy. He was a former first-round pick, and he has just burst on the scene. He scored a touchdown last week, had 3 catches. He ran the ball twice. He's going to start returning kicks. I don't know how they do it, man. I've given up on him trying to figure it out. They just find guys, they plug them in, and Mahomes is really that good. It just works, man. It just works.
Pretty amazing too, right? Because you think about this is probably the greatest period of time, I'm guessing, in Kansas City Chiefs history. And by the way, I mean, the Chiefs go back to the early days of the NFL and the Super Bowls, right? I mean, but right now, this is the best time ever for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and it's not really close. Those Chiefs teams of the like 60s and 70s, I'm too young to remember them, but they were great. And then the merger happened. The Chiefs were in Super Bowl 1 and they got drilled by the Packers. They won Super Bowl 4, but there was a 10-year stretch where the Chiefs was 1 and 1 and 1. But a lot of that was the AFL and nobody cared. You know, there was no Super Bowl. It's like, oh, that's the AFL. That's not the NFL. You're not really that good. At least that's what my dad taught me. So no, there's been nothing like this, and there's no end in sight. I mean, I don't know how long Andy Reid coaches, but as long as he and Patrick Mahomes are here, the Chiefs are a force every single year.
Well, I get that's my point. I mean, there was a time, Kev, when you used to come on the show and the Chargers were really, this is when the Chargers were in San Diego, and the Chargers were really, really, really good. They were in it every year, and the Chiefs were trash.
Right.
You know? And so it's funny to hear you say, you know, you don't know how they do it. They keep making the right moves. They let Tyreek Hill go. They pick up this guy, Toney, from the Giants, who was a first-round pick. I had to look him up, out of the University of Florida, that I've never heard of. And how are they doing it? They just keep getting things right. And it's interesting to hear you talk about how good they are now, knowing the history of when we used to talk and how bad they used to be.
Right. I mean, there was a long gap between Marty Schottenheimer and Andy Reid. There were some winning years. Dick Vermeil had a couple of nice offenses and some playoff teams. It wasn't like they were the Lions or the Browns, never in the playoffs, but they didn't win playoff games. They'd never had an AFC title game at Arrowhead Stadium. Now they have 4 in a row. And right now they're the 1 seed on track to have the 5th year in a row at their stadium. It's just completely unprecedented. The day Andy Reid arrived, nobody knows this or talks about this. The day he arrived, he had the number 1 pick in the draft. The Chiefs had the worst record. The worst. They were 1-15. And they drafted Eric Fisher at left tackle after they had traded for Alex Smith. And we thought, oh, okay, the Chiefs could have drafted anybody they wanted at quarterback, and they traded for Alex Smith. And we thought, here we go again in Kansas City. Alex Smith was a good player here. They won a lot of games with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Then they made the deal to trade up and got Patrick Mahomes, and it changed everything. And, the AFC's been weak the last few years, but it is not anymore. This is getting harder and harder for the Chiefs. They got beat by the Bengals last year in the playoffs, who went to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are only 2-2 at home in those 4 home games to go to the Super Bowl. That ain't great. I mean, Andy hasn't been great in the playoffs. He hasn't been great in title games, and he hasn't been great in the Super Bowl. But my God, does this guy know how to win a division? I mean, it is ridiculous watching the Chiefs in the regular season just steamroll this division. And all they're talking about this week is this thing is over. If the Chiefs win Sunday night, the AFC West is done.
Yeah.
And we're not even to December.
Hey, Kev, I just want to ask you just real quick, because we were having this conversation before you came in. So Dean Spanos was handed the team by his father, and Alex pointed out that in 28 years, they've only been to the playoffs 7 times. Mark Davis was handed the team by his father, and he's turning the Raiders into a mess, regardless of his nice new stadium in Vegas. And we're talking about Jeannie Buss, who was handed the team by her father. And yes, the Lakers won a championship a couple of years ago, but in her time as owner, they've been bad, and they've got huge salaries and big name players, et cetera. In Kansas City, the Hunt family owns a team, and the guy who's the current Hunt, the team was handed to him from his father too, right? Why is he, in your opinion, a better owner than the 3 that we were talking about?
Okay, Lamar Hunt, the dad, who is deceased, was a visionary. He had the idea for the AFL. He thought, he lived in Dallas. He was a rich kid. His dad at that point was the richest man in the world. It was the Hunt family of Texas. They had oil and silver, and they were the wealthiest family in the world. And so he was the kid, and he's like, I love football, and the Dallas Cowboys are here. Let's start the Dallas Texans and start our own league and compete against them, because he was just a rich kid. And it turned out that the AFL worked. It wasn't working in Dallas, so they moved to Kansas City after a couple of years. Then he put together this coalition of teams. It worked. He built it. I mean, the man was a visionary in a lot of ways, not just that way. He got in Major League Soccer early, and Kansas City has championships in soccer here, and the Hunt family owns a couple of soccer teams. They became part owners of the Chicago Bulls under Lamar Hunt. He's invested in Premier League teams in soccer, and he did this 25 years ago when nobody was watching soccer. So Lamar Hunt was kind of a visionary, but he wasn't a great owner for the Chiefs. He was cheap. I mean, I can't overstate this. He was cheap, and he was overly loyal. He would be too loyal to his general managers, who were no good. He wouldn't fire anybody. He didn't like to rock the boat. He just wanted to make his profit, live in Dallas, make money in Kansas City, and life is good. Clark, on the other hand, went to SMU, graduated number 1 in his class in business, understands how you really make money in sports is by winning and building a brand and being more than just one of 32. And the day he took over, the Chiefs started spending money. They started using draft capital to go get quarterbacks and bring people in and say, look, I'm going to be the team that hires Andy Reid. He's available. There were several other teams that wanted him. The Cardinals wanted him. I'm going to overpay Andy Reid. I'm going to get the guy in here, and then I'm going to get the right people in charge to find me the players. And it's worked. And honestly, I know Clark Hunt's made a lot of money owning the Chiefs, but paying $500 million to Patrick Mahomes is good business. It's good business. You're going to make more money in the long run because your franchise is going to be worth more. If you're a winning franchise in a smaller market like Kansas City, I don't know what it's worth now, $4 billion probably. But I mean, it's more than that on the open market, because if you ask Jeff Bezos, do you want to own an NFL team? Which one do you think he wants to own? I'll take the one with Patrick Mahomes the next 10 years. I mean, it literally has just completely transformed the business. And I think Clark saw that. His dad never saw it that way. His dad was keep the payroll down, don't pay too much. He was way too loyal to people. Clark's got a way better handle for how to run this thing, and that's go beat the other owners.
Wow, that's awesome to hear, man. How about that, guys? We were talking about dads handing kids teams and teams falling apart and kids being bad owners. Kevin just told us how the Kansas City Chiefs owner was bad, and now the kid has the team, and they're good. Kevin Kietzman is here. His podcast, KK has issues. Yeah.
Appropriate.
Yeah. I know. That should be the name of mine too.
What would you say, look at this transition, is the Chiefs' biggest issue if you had to pick something out?
The Chiefs' biggest issue is Andy Reid isn't great in the postseason. They have a tendency to fall apart. There's a little hubris involved in this. They are convinced they're great, and that can bite you in the ass when you're playing the Bengals in the playoffs and you're looking across at Joe Burrow and you're going, well, they've never won anything. We're going to beat these guys. Look, the last 3 times they've played the Bills, this is last year in the regular season, then the epic playoff game where the Bills took the lead with 13 seconds to go and the Chiefs came back in 13 seconds. And then the one this year, the Bills have been the better team, and it hasn't been close. In all 3 of those games, the Bills were the better team, yet the Chiefs found their way to the AFC title game. So they always believe they have this magic. I think the Bulls were like that with Michael Jordan. There was always this mid-season thing. You'd be like, oh, is this the year they're not as good? They turn it on when they had to. The problem is in the NFL, you're one and done. There's no 7-game series. If the Chiefs don't turn it on in a playoff game, they're going home. And I think that is their biggest single problem is they go into every stinking game thinking it's going to be easy, and this league is not like that.
Even though Andy Reid is a good coach.
He is a good coach. Very good coach. Hall of Fame coach. Great coach.
Getting to 2 Super Bowls for Kansas City and losing 2 AFC championship games, like that, to me, that's not a bad thing. Everybody gets beat. Like the other guys get paid too. And I think sometimes people take Andy, because this is what happened to him in Philadelphia. He didn't quote unquote win enough. And so he got ran out. And I hope that people
it's Tom Brady's fault.
I hope that people in Kansas, City understand what they have in Andy Reid as opposed to hitting people with the 2-2 record, because you could be like Chicago and it took one of the guys off the staff and never sniffed nothing close to it.
I just feel like for a long time there, the Patriots made it seem like winning the Super Bowl was easy. Even if you have a Patrick Mahomes, it's not.
Right.
Mahomes won Super Bowl. Tom Brady won Super Bowl. Drew Brees won Super Bowl. Peyton Manning 2. Like, it's not easy to win 5 or 6.
No, you're right. And this may sound dumb, but at one point, wasn't Tom Brady like 3-3 in Super Bowls? And people were like, oh, he's only won half of them. I'm like, 3-3.
Yes.
We'll take that here. The Chiefs are 1-1 right now. We'll take 3-3. So your point is very well taken. I just think with Andy, one of the things that really sticks with me was the Tampa Super Bowl. How do you have Patrick Mahomes in that offense and they didn't score a touchdown in that game? So what was it? They can say, well, it was the Britt Reed crash 3 days before that almost killed the little girl. Maybe the team was weird. I don't buy that for a second. I think it was hubris. Again, they thought Tom Brady's an old man. We've watched them on film. They're not as good as us. We're going to Tampa. We're going to kick their butt. And they didn't score a touchdown that night. I mean, they've really revamped everything they do offensively since that game. Tampa would play the 2 deep zone. They'd cover it deep and say, you're not going to beat us with deep plays. The Chiefs don't need that anymore. They can dink and dunk you to death. They have multiple receivers. They don't count on throwing it 50 yards downfield, but they can. So they really had to change everything after that Super Bowl. But the fact that Andy didn't identify that coming in or know what to do with it in game and say, okay, we've got a problem here. Let's deal with this. They were not competitive in that Super Bowl. And that to me still is an example of what happens to Andy Reid in the postseason.
They're also their ability to just let Tyreek Hill walk. I thought a lot of people made way too much of that. You have the guy in Patrick Mahomes. You have the coach in Andy Reid. Those 2 guys will figure it out. And like you said, they have. And to me, this has made Patrick Mahomes, this is the best version of him. Because what got them in trouble in that Super Bowl is we can score in 7 seconds because we could just throw it to Tyreek Hill. You ain't got to worry about that no more. You got weapons all over the place, and utilizing these weapons has made Patrick Mahomes far more dangerous, if you ask me.
No question, especially over a 60-minute game. I agree with you. It maybe not as dangerous as last year with 13 seconds left against the Bills, but I don't know. Around here, we don't count on Patrick Mahomes not being able to do anything. But again, you can't get yourself in a situation in the postseason where you go into a game and either take them lightly or have the wrong game plan. The Chiefs are an NFL team. Nobody is good enough to overcome those things. Guys, we've watched football our whole lives. We know this about this league. The Chiefs, here's an interesting thing about the Chiefs. So are they the odds-on favorite to win the AFC? Yes. Does that mean anything? Well, let me put it in perspective. The Chiefs lost to the Colts, which was the first team to fire its coach this year.
Yeah, right. That's right. And they lost to them under Frank Reich.
Yep.
And it was clearly a game that the Chiefs thought, All we got to do is show up in Indianapolis and this game is over.
Mhm.
They phoned it in and got their butt kicked. You can't do it.
Kevin Kietzman is here. Kevin Kietzman's podcast is called KK Has Issues, and he does. And who doesn't? And he talks a lot about sports and politics and life, and it's really great. So you should check it out. And I say that because KK, listen, here's the thing. You never know when you can expand your audience into Southern California, you know? Got a lot of people listening and watching on YouTube, listening on radio. So why not try and pick up some more listeners? How do people find the KK Has Issues podcast?
The easiest way is anywhere you listen to podcasts, just hit the search bar. It's KK Has Issues or Kevin Kietzman Has Issues. The website is kkhasissues.com. You can play all the podcasts right through there. We have plenty of listeners in California. I can see every day. Now, most of them, I'm sure, transplanted Kansas Cityans because it is kind of a Midwest podcast. We do some politics or news events that are national. When big stories are happening, we talk about big stories around the country. But it's, I think, a pretty solid mix of news, politics, sports. Clearly, people come to my podcast wanting sports. Most every Monday and every Friday, it's all sports. During the week, we hit on some other things. So I like the balance. It's been a 2.0 version of me. You know, I get to talk about things and do things and have people on that I would never have had on doing just sports radio. So I find it, really kind of tickling my funny bone and enjoying my broadcasting, sitting here in my home office with my dog who's right down there.
Yeah,
Life's
same.
good, man.
Dude,
Life's good
same.
right here.
My dog is literally laying right here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can hear him snoring. He likes
Sometimes.
he likes to lay by this
All the
light
time.
because
Every
yeah,
day.
he right here. He likes
Ever
to
wonder who the hell are they talking to?
right. Here he is right here.
Dogs
Here,
ever wonder that?
this dog is right here. He's just laying here sleeping,
Awesome.
minding his own business. I love it. I love working from home. I really do. Although I will tell you this just real quickly. And I told John and Alex I would never leave my house again. Like I was always going to be doing Zoom calls the rest of my life. I don't want to waste gas. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to go out for lunches. I was wrong. I will say that face-to-face meetings help move things faster, but I'm now a Zoom guy. But I'm finding myself going back out, doing a lot more face-to-face and real hand-to-hand combat because things get done. I just didn't think that, but now I do.
Well, I like doing this, but mostly I don't like people walking into my office with their problem. That's what I didn't like all the years. You know, being a partner in a business is like a guy would walk in and say, "Man, I got a flat tire. I can't afford new tires. Can you help me out? Is there anything the company can do?" I'm like, I'm so tired of everybody else's problems. I couldn't take it anymore. So this is great like that. But I don't know how you guys are. I got to leave the house every day.
Oh,
Now,
me too.
we live in this, we're in Kansas City. But we don't live in the city. Like I'm on the edge. I'm on the southwestern edge of Kansas City. If I drive a mile to the west of my new house that we built here, there's fields. All right. There's cows not far from here, like literally. And we like it that way. So I got to get in my car sometimes and just go drive, open the sunroof and get some air because I'm just not used to being home every day. I'm still not used to it. I've been doing it for 2 years and I'm not used to it. I went to work every day for 36 years and I'm just not used to this.
Dude, I drive to LA once, sometimes twice a week. And people are like, damn, you drive to LA that much? I'm like, I love it. I love getting out of my house. I love being in a new environment. Browner, you said that we should ask Kevin what he does about notifications. Kev, do you have notifications on your phone? Do you have notifications on or are they all off?
And if so, from what apps?
Well, I'm not a techie. I get notifications on my phone, but I can't honestly tell you what I've got it set up as. My son mostly did that for me. So I get notifications of things that I subscribe to. So I get things from podcasts that I listen to or whatever it is that I follow and check out, but I don't use it through an app. It's however the iPhone is set up. Things that I actually follow, I get notifications on.
You hear what that makes? You hear what that makes Kevin sound like, Alex?
Say it.
Say it.
Say it.
Old?
Makes you sound old. Like when you and me too, Kev. These guys tease me all the time.
No, actually, well, I guess the sun's setting it up. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's because context is always important, Kevin.
Is it though?
It's because Scott started the show by saying, "Guys like me," and I was like, "Oh, what does that make you seem like? Like a fresh, young, hip kid?" No, I mean, guys like me.
Yeah. So, hey, Kev, before you roll, I'm curious. Got about a minute here, but you're going to take the Chiefs to win this game. I mean, the Chargers are all beat up, right? I mean, they're too hurt. Joey Bosa's hurt. Their left tackle's hurt. They're getting their receivers back this week. They're just too beat up everywhere. I got to think the Chiefs win this game.
All right. So we have gambling in Kansas now. And
you lucky dog, you. We lost
6.5.
Got blown out the water.
There is no chance I'm betting on the Chiefs minus 6.5. Zero. This is a division game, but I called the thing Monday night. I was on a local show here on a news talk station that does some sports. They had me on to talk sports. And he says, oh, this Eagles Commanders game is just going to be horrible. I said, dude, it's a division game. The Chiefs lost to the Colts. The Eagles can lose to the Commanders. I said, I'm not predicting it. I'm not betting a bunch of money on it, but don't just throw this game away and say the Commanders can't win. The underdogs have done great this year in the NFL. 4 points or more, they have done phenomenally against the spread and won half of those games outright. This is the Chargers season. Whatever they've got in the tank, they're going to spend it. And the Chiefs have a 50-50 shot of showing up with nothing. I'm telling you, they some nights they just have nothing. So no, if the Chiefs win by 17, fine. But I ain't betting on them to win by a touchdown. No chance. How hard was the game in Kansas City? The Chargers should have won that game.
Hey, it is great to be with you always. Thank you so much for doing this. And to everybody listening and watching, stick around. Plenty more to come. Kevin Kietzman, we appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Kaplan and Crude Tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Locally owned and operated, not some bland, uninspired, corporate, cookie-cutter radio station crap. We simply say to those stations, you. The mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
Hola, I'm JR Cardenas.
And I'm Vanessa Ramirez.
We're the hosts for Su Vida, where we showcase California restaurants, music,
art, culture, and so much more.
We would love to talk to you about featuring your business on our show.
Yes, and as an added bonus, you get to keep the professional video segment to repurpose and use on your website or social media channels.
Please click on the link below to get more information about how to put your business on Su Vida.
We hope to hear from you soon.
Great things can be achieved when a community comes together. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community.
Watch Doing More Sunday night at 6 on YourView or stream it online at yourview.com. Brought to you by Procopio, San Diego's largest law firm, committed to community, representing San Diegans for more than 75 years.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
If you're going to count yourself as a fan of this radio station, you'll need to continuously ask yourself one basic question. Am I listening enough? Pro tip, wives are not a good source for input on this. This is the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio.
Kaplan and Crude Tonight is brought to you by Jackery Solar Generator. Explore further with Jackery Solar Generator.
Muéstrame cómo va a manejar papi. ¿A dónde vas a ir?
On every mountain and valley you tread, through wind and rain, we're here with you. To shine a light when it gets dark, and to forge a path where it gets tough. Let Jackery Solar power all your hopes and dreams. Take you where you want to go. To the goals you chase, to the ones you love. Explore further with Jackery Solar. Jackery, 10 years on.
Many are adding companion units or ADUs to bring more value to their homes. Our experience, plus our strong relationship with the city, makes adding on easier for our homeowners.
We listen to you first, then design and build. Visit murraylampert.com for your consultation.
Drivers are getting in accidents at a rate we've never seen before, jumping 18% since 2020. There are higher incidents of speeding and more aggressive driving since the pandemic began. Please slow down and drive safely. It can save a life.
Hola, I'm JR Cardenas.
And I'm Vanessa Ramirez.
We're the hosts for Su Vida, where we showcase California restaurants, music,
art, culture, and so much more.
We would love to talk to you about featuring your business on our show.
Yes, and as an added bonus, you get to keep the professional video segment to repurpose and use on your website or social media channels.
Please click on the link below to get more information about how to put your business on Su Vida.
We hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.